Hello, world, and welcome to another episode of Marcel Mindset TV. All right. Remember, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button below, comment on the videos, and most importantly, make sure you guys are sharing this valuable content that each guest comes to the show with. All right. Don't be a gatekeeper. Don't hear this episode and not share it to other people, all right? Because we got some very special guests that come on the show. Today, we have an extremely special guest. I just want to say, I could just tell that this man is very hungry, to learn about financial literacy. He's very hungry about the topic of financial literacy. He's sharing great information on financial literacy, information that we may have not been taught by our parents, information that we weren't taught by the school system. So anybody doing stuff like that, we have to pay our respects to. We got to check them out because this information could change the whole trajectory of our life. All right. So my next guest has a very special and important last name. His last name is King. And when I saw that last name, that speaks so much to me. If you know the King last name, that holds a lot of power. All right. So I'd like to introduce to the show my next guest, Justin King. How you doing, Justin?
Man, hey, Marcel, salute to you, man. I appreciate you, bro, for having me on. I really appreciate the introduction, man. I'm excited to be here and just, share what I know, share what I've learned, past experiences and present experiences. Let's get to it.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get to it, my brother. And you know what? I just want to thank you for taking the time out of your day because I know you're extremely busy, with your own life, so doing what you're doing. So much respect to you for being here. You didn't have to be here, but you wanted to be here. You have the information. You want to spread that knowledge to people and you want to help people. I can feel it. You have an extremely good heart. So respect. So who is Justin King and what inspired you to get into the financial industry?
Yeah, man. Much love, Marcel. Well, first and foremost, I'm a father, husband, son, friend. To keep it short, I'm a family man. And what inspired me was the fact that most of my family and friends I grew up around, they really weren't educated on how to use money or how to use credit or anything like that. So I realized that we were pretty much taught backwards coming up in school. So once I realized that, and this was later on in my life, so this wasn't like I was young or anything. Like this was like, we'll get into it more, but I was playing basketball professionally. In my last few years, I started to really learn about financial literacy, budgeting, and what I should be doing with my money. So once I learned that, I took it upon myself to want to get into the industry and educate others.
Yeah, that's big. You recognize that, basketball wasn't going to last forever. So you grew up with people that may not had a financial plan. You didn't want to be in the same position. So you got involved with the financial industry and now you're spreading that knowledge there. So, by the end of the show, we'll make sure that everyone has your information and they could get a hold of you and they could get tapped into all your content because it's actually great content that you're actually producing that actually, got me thinking different when I looked at your content. I'm okay. I never knew this before.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, man. So what is the difference, because we do talk about assets and liabilities. What is the difference between an asset and a liability? And,
Right.
What are some assets people can acquire?
Man, good question. Good question. So, and my point of view is pretty simple. Like assets make you money, right? So I look at the etymology of the word asset, right? Where does it come from? What does it mean? What is the root meaning of the word? And the root meaning is a sufficient estate. So an asset is something that is going to bring you money and not take away from whatever you're bringing in as far as income and compensate you sufficiently, right? And those are the things you want to keep, and those are the things you want to pass on to create generational wealth. And a liability is just completely opposite. Like a liability is something that's taken away from your pot of money, taken away from your monthly income. And a lot of people think that, their mortgage is an asset sometimes, and I like to use this as an example because you do have a home, but if you're paying on a mortgage and then you're adding interest to that, that's taken away double time from what what is considered an asset. So to me, I look at things like that as a liability.
Right. Yeah. And thanks for clarifying that because, a lot of people don't know the difference, when and especially since you said about the home thing. Most people think that
Yeah.
their home is an asset. So that's a big one,
Mm,
that you just clarified for people thinking that, oh, my home is an asset. So assets are things
right.
that make you money. All right. Like you just said, and that's big. And is there something that you specifically that you think people can get as an asset, like anything that you
Hmm.
recommend, or do people got to speak to
Yep.
you specifically? What do you recommend in terms of like assets? Like if I want to get an asset, what is example of an asset?
Right, right. So real estate can be an actual asset, right? If you were to go and purchase a property and you're bringing in monthly income, then that would be considered an asset for you, And then I'll also say, like, since I'm in this space, I would say permanent life insurance that has a cash value is an asset, right? Anything that is going to grow in interest while you're pretty much sitting at home are the type of things you want your money to be into. Essentially, you want your money to work for you. So in the long run, during retirement or whatever it may be, you want to take a break from work, or God forbid you get injured or anything. You have money that's out there working for you that you can actually collect. So I would say, anything such as real estate, permanent life insurance. I mean, people are even turning cars into assets, utilizing things like Turo
Yep.
and things of that nature. So, those are just a few examples of some assets that people can go out and get into right now.
Yep. That's good. So, if you want to start building those assets and you're still unsure, we'll have Justin give all his information at the end of the show. And then you guys can reach out to him and you could talk about how you can, start making your money work for you and start acquiring more assets. So building wealth, building wealth, a lot of people talk about it. It's trending on TikTok. They talk about generational wealth and, is building wealth only for those that come from wealthy families?
Oh man, great question. It's funny that most people think that, right? And then when I was young, I used to kind of think that. Like I didn't grow up poor or anything like that, but I didn't grow up, a trust fund baby per se. You know what I mean? But
100%.
absolutely not. Like I think that building wealth is a birthright. Like you have a right, Marcel, to build wealth. The person next door to me has the right. Anybody that's here and of age to start working has the ability to build wealth. But it just comes down to the right education and the right mindset, right? So you have people out there who believe that building wealth or getting rich is only for a certain person that's come from it, but that's because that person hasn't been taught the correct way of how money works, how to build money. We just talked about assets and liabilities. You know what I mean? People don't understand that, just to go out and buy a house, that's not really an asset. That's not really building generational wealth. When you pass on, you're going to pass on a mortgage, right? You're not going to pass on an income producing home. So it's all about education when it comes to building wealth. And that's why, like, I want to be the first generation to build, the first person in my family to build $1 million business, because I don't want to just show that I can do it, but I want to pass on what I've learned in this process to building it to my son, and then my wife, and so on and so on. So then nieces, nephews, and then that way that can carry on for generations. And I feel like that's when you've done your job. You know what I mean? Here on this earth.
Yeah, for sure. That's very admirable, and that's what I aspire to do as well too. I respect that a lot. So Justin King is saying the right education and the right mindset is key. All right. If you don't have the education, you're not going to make the right decisions. All right. That's why
Right,
you need to
right,
follow Justin King's page and tap into what he's teaching, right? Because
man.
he's on that path to building wealth and creating financial freedom for his family and his future generations, right? So you pass that down. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So being an athlete, right? Like respect to you. I play ball too, not at your level, but I did play basketball. And you were a professional athlete, and we're gonna be professional athletes will tune into this show. And we want to speak to them because a lot of them, from
Hmm.
my experience, maybe they made money or, they were in the moment, right? And they just blew it at the club, or they blew it on bottles, or they blew it on the Louis V or the Gucci or whatever if they had big contracts. So we want to prepare the pro athletes as well too. So what message would you give to athletes out there in their professional career to do with their
Right.
money while they're earning?
Yeah. So, from my experience, I would say first is, any athlete out there, for one, it's very exciting when you first get your first contract, right? You blood, sweat, and tears. You go through the ups and downs of being an athlete, but once you start getting paid to be an athlete, you feel like you've made it. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be like a lot of money. You just like, finally, I've got here. So you want to probably like celebrate and spend that money and do all these things that you've been wanting to do, right? But I would say the budget, you know what I mean? As soon as you know what you're getting paid that year in your salary, month by month, like budget out your money. Even if you're starting out on a low salary, create a budget, find out what you have left over, and then from there, start putting money away into an interest bearing savings account, or it could be a policy. Um, and I would say, like, I say policy because that's what we offer as a company, right? And then I know in certain policies you can get 5 to 6% interest on your money, or in other cases you can get 10 to 12% on average on your money. And those are the type of things you want to start out with. And then after that, I would say, let me see, I got something here in my notes for this.
Yep.
After that, I would say be disciplined in your budget and your savings. So don't, save for a couple months and then after that, it's like I have enough. Like stick to your budget all the way through the year. That budget is going to take you into your next contract because athletes, we always have a gap. There's an off season, right? So you want to be prepared for that off season. And then after that, I would say your next contract be a little bit bigger, budget out with that some more, and then start investing your money, maybe into some real estate or stock market. There's different avenues. Start your own business on the side as you're playing. And then after that, now you can just have a long career while you're building out your policies, building out your retirement plan, building out your assets, business, stocks, real estate, whatever it may be. So when you retire, if you're lucky enough to have like a 10-year career, you can just sit back and start collecting checks based off what you built from the very beginning. And these are some of the things I wish I knew because I didn't start doing things budgeting like this until my last literally 2 years of my career.
Yeah. So you guys just got some free game right there, some gems dropped, to prepare yourself as an athlete. If you're an athlete and you have that career, you got to make sure you're budgeting, like Justin
Yeah.
said. And like you said, an interest bearing savings account, that's big because some people think you just put your money in the bank and your money grows. So there's specific things that you could do, so when you're finished, like you said, because you said lucky enough to have 10 years. So the career is not that long.
Not
So
long.
no. So make sure you guys have a plan. Those athletes out there, those females and male athletes out there, make sure you guys have that plan. And Justin, being a former athlete, you can go to him and be like, what did you do? Because like he said, in the last 2 years, that's when he started being like, oh, I need to budget. I have to save this. I need to save that. And sometimes it's not how much you make, because you made a good point too. It's not necessarily how much you make. It's what you do with what you make.
Exactly.
And that comes down to the budgeting. So reach out to Justin. If you're an athlete and you're a current pro athlete, so when you hear this episode, make sure that you DM Justin and talk to him about your experience and see how you can get set up. All right. Thank you for that value.
Definitely. No problem, man. Reach out to me. Like you said, I'm here. I'm here to even just answer questions. And if we want to sit down, we can go through some things. I do help people, athletes in any field budget as well.
Yep. It's good to know. So this journey of life, we are all on this journey, whether it is, to find yourself, to find your career, to
Yeah.
meet people, whatever your journey is, everybody has their own unique journey. And I could tell that, you've been on your journey yourself, from being a pro athlete, playing basketball, going to school, now in the financial industry. So you have so much value that you could provide, our younger audience out there in terms of like life experience, that you could give them some tips that can help them, and elevate them to get, even further than you and myself. Right. And that's the goal of this channel, is to help people, get better, do better, have more money in their pockets, be mentally healthy. So what are 3 things that you've learned on your life journey that you think would help others on their journey?
Yeah. So one, I would say, stick to what you love to do. right? Stick to it, no matter how hard it is. Like, please, like, stick to it and fulfill that dream, no matter what. So in my career, like, I'll be honest, right here with you guys, right here on Marcel TV. Like, I didn't get rich playing basketball, right? I lived a comfortable life playing basketball, and it was the best life to me because I stuck it out, right? There were times where I didn't think I was going to ever get a contract. There was times where I almost became a fireman, like in Las Vegas. I almost like applied to become a fireman and did that, and then I didn't do it, and literally 3 months later, I had got my second contract to go play in Australia, but I stuck to it and I fulfilled that dream. And I say that because you never want to look at things and say, I should have, I could have, or I would have. You know what I mean? And now that I'm in this space, I feel comfortable being here. Like, I don't have to think about playing basketball again. I don't want to play basketball again. Like, I don't want to, do the training camps and all that stuff. Like, I lived it, so I'm happy with that. So I would say, to the young audience out there, stick to what you do and make it a career if possible. Make money by doing what you love to do. The second thing I would say, kind of like similar to what I was saying to the athletes, is budget and plan. Plan for the future. Like, enjoy your moments, but take time to see and know where you're going in your life. Create a roadmap for yourself. And I say that because, and I'm sure you can attest to this, Marcel, it's like you're always going to have times where things don't seem like they're going to work out. You're
Yep.
going to go through hardships. But when you have a roadmap for yourself, it's almost like you can kind of see past that because your roadmap reminds you of where you're going.
Exactly.
So it's like if you're driving somewhere and you come to a dead end, but then you don't have a GPS, you might just turn around and go back home. If you have a
Yep.
GPS, it might show you a different way you can go. You
That's
know what
right.
I mean? So, like, I kind of see that the same. It's like, have a roadmap for your career and even your finances.
That's right.
Um, and then the last thing I'll just say is, start getting your finances in order.
Yeah.
Start learning about financial literacy. Start learning about different things, how to save money. What credit is, budgeting, all those different type of things, and find someone you can trust that may be in the industry as well.
That's right.
Because they're going to help you. They're going to give you knowledge. And if you don't have anybody around you can trust, feel free to reach out to Marcel. Feel free to reach out to me.
There you go. I love that. Stick to what you love to do, budget and plan, and start getting your finances in order. All right.
Yes, sir.
I love that advice. So, our high school audience that views the show, we've had great feedback from them in terms of them, learning about financial literacy. So I really hope that, something came to me that you get the opportunity to go into schools and do workshops and teach the younger generation. Cause I feel like, you're relatable, you're very
Right.
relatable. You're very well spoken. You break down the concepts in an easy way and you make it fun. Like, you make financial literacy fun. Like, I'm having fun on the show here with you, and I'm having fun learning from you. So,
Good.
I hope that's something that you consider, going into schools and doing workshops for the younger generation and getting this information out there.
Sure, man. That's definitely something I do consider. I actually just got the number to the principal of my high school from my old
Yep.
high school coach, and
Good.
yeah, Liberty High School here in Henderson. So
Yep.
definitely reaching out to them. So that could be my first
Good.
step into the
Good.
high school space.
Yeah. I like that. I like that. See, I felt something that maybe it could be a worldwide thing. We'll see what happens for you. So,
Doing events, man.
yep.
So I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe we can link up in Toronto too and do
Yep.
something.
Do an event. Exactly. Yeah. Why not? Anything's possible here in this world, man.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
make it happen. So, if you were to speak to a group of high school students, what are three
Mhm.
things you would tell them about money?
Okay. So first, I would say, like, go out and start making money. Right. So either, I don't know if parents still give allowances nowadays, but like, if your parents giving you opportunity to, like, do stuff around the house and they're gonna give you allowance, or you're in high school and you're going out and seeking your first job, like, go out and start making money by putting in some work. Create that relationship with money. Right. The only way you can create a relationship with money, you got to start out by making money. Right. So at that point, like, to me, it doesn't matter like what you do, as long as you find something legal to do, obviously. Um, and start creating that relationship to get compensated for it. The second thing I would say is each time you get a paycheck or allowance, like save at least 10%.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like start saving a certain percentage of what you get paid in in a bank account, or like give it to your mom or dad and ask them to, hey, mom, dad, can you save this for me? And then number three, I would say is start researching ways you can earn money by doing what you love to do. Kind of
Yeah.
going back to what I said the previous question. So, if it's, you love music or whatever it may be, like research ways how you can get paid and by doing music. You know what I mean? Like start saving up money from your job, research how you can get paid doing music, and then you can create a game plan for yourself to reach that goal. You know what I mean? So,
Exactly.
and my dad used to always tell me is like stick to it because, you know, when you get paid to do what you love to do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Agreed.
Right. So like that always stuck to me. Hopefully it can stick to you guys, and hopefully it can speak and stick with the younger audience, because I think that's important. And when you're that young, you have all the potential. So if you get a job now, create a relationship with money, know that you have to work for it. Like nothing comes easy.
Right.
Then you start saving at least 10% every paycheck. And then with that saved money, you can start purchasing courses or whatever it might be to learn how to make money from what you love to do or from a business that you want to start. And, then you can kind of go from there. But I believe that builds a solid foundation.
Yeah, that's right. So I like all those three things that, you're advising our younger audience to do. Go out and start making money, save 10% of your money, and, start researching ways to start earning from what you love to do. I love that. And, it's possible, and you got time. You got all the time in the world. So start now. Don't wait till later on. You got so much time. You're living at home, you're with your parents. You
Mm,
got so much time. All right. So I hope you guys take
facts.
that information that Justin just gave out and you really apply it. All right. Because, Justin's dropping a bunch of gems on the show. All right. I just want to say that. And, the gems that he's dropping, the only way that things are going to change for you is if you actually take what he says and do it. All right. It's one thing to hear this episode and be like, you're all pumped up from what we're saying, like you're listening to this episode. But if you're not actually doing what is being told to you here on the episode, nothing's going to change for you. Right? If you're not taking the 10%, if you're not going out and starting to make money, if you're not researching, if you're not having a budget, if you're not trying to find out what you love to do, if you're not getting your finances order, like if you're not doing these things, and nothing's going to change. All right. So if you're
Right.
not looking for assets, if you're not reaching out to a coach or somebody like Justin or myself, like nothing's going to change. All right. So you have to actually do the action and take the action steps. Don't just listen to this podcast. I don't want to be the episode where it's like, oh, this is entertaining. No, this is educational. And you're also going to, actually what you hear from this, you're going to go and you're going to apply it. All right.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah. I
key.
got a good quote as well.
Yeah.
I might butcher this a little bit, but it's like, you know, knowledge isn't just something you take in, right? Knowledge is information you take in and then take action from.
Right.
That's when it becomes knowledge. So a lot of
Exactly.
people think like they're reading a book or listening to a podcast like this, and they're like, "Oh, I'm getting so much knowledge." But then if you don't actually take knowledge, I mean, take action to the information you just received, you really haven't applied yourself. So in reality, you don't have the knowledge on it, because now you have to go out, put the action towards it, fail, succeed. And that's when you really start to build true knowledge of something.
Yeah. That's great. Take that action. All right. So low barrier entry investments. All right. We want to talk a little bit about that. If you only have maybe like $100 or $500 or not that much money, I believe personally that you're still able to invest. So what are some low barrier to entry investments you recommend people, you know, kind of look at to help them, build wealth?
Yeah, yeah. No, good question. No, I'm not a financial advisor, so
Right.
I can't say I advise people on this. But what I would do is, when it comes to money, you want to start with building a strong foundation. right? So, in the ancient days, they used to say like a pyramid is like the symbol of civilization, right? So when it comes to money and starting somewhere, you want to start at the very bottom. You want to build out a strong foundation like a house. Without a strong foundation, the house will sink or the house will fall. So it's the same thing you want to do with your estate, pretty much, with your money. So having it in place where one, it's protected, right, from taxes, protected from downside markets, and then you can access it when you need it. And then you also want it to be earning interest. So, like, to me, that's where you start. That's where your foundation starts. And that would be in something like you can use like an index universal life insurance policy, a whole life insurance policy, things of that nature that ensures your hard earned money. You're working hard for it and put insurance on it. You put insurance on your car, your house, everything. But what we don't do sometimes, especially in our communities,
Yeah,
is we don't insure our own money. You know what I mean? If something happens to you, don't leave that debt to your next of kin or to somebody else that has to take on that barrier. Like insure your money, and you're gonna get that refund right away.
there you go.
Um, the next thing I would say is 1 second. After that, then I believe the next tier of your pyramid is investments.
Yep,
So those things will be like, you can get into the stock market really with $100 a month, $500 a month. And by the way, you can get into one of these policies with that amount as well. But yeah, I would say the stock market. So one thing that I like to do is invest in dividend stocks, it could be like you said, $100 a month, $200 a month. But what this does is create compound interest over time.
right.
So you go ahead and receive those dividends while also, whatever company you invest in is going up or down in value. If it's a strong company, over time, 10, 20 years, that it's going to give you a good return,
That's right.
right? So like those would be like what I would say is like get those two foundations set and level one and then level two. And then after that, three, four, then you can kind of start playing around with your money and getting into other things.
Right. All right. So there's no real excuse to not be investing. All right. So make sure
Not at all.
you guys start investing your money. That's the key. So credit cards. All right. Some people have a really good relationships with their credit cards and they love them, and some people have a terrible relationships with their credit card. So do you think we should be using our credit cards or should we cut them up?
Oh man. So I definitely think we should be using our credit cards, man. Like, I know it has like credit has a bad stigma because a lot of us have gone into debt and, had arguments over the phones with credit card companies calling us and so it's like it has a bad stigma to it, but it all comes down to honestly, uh, like I said earlier, the education behind it, right? Like I didn't start learning about utilizing credit in a positive way or in a way of leverage until about 3 years ago, to be honest. And then that's when I started investing into clearing my credit, boosting my credit score because I realized when I get into business, it's going to actually help me. And also a credit score, if you look at it like this, I think it will help as well. Like look at it as a trust relationship, right? Like if your credit is good, then banks or private investors, they're more than likely able to trust you with lending you some money just in case if you need money to leverage. So
Right.
I think like that is the way that we must have to look at it. Like this is a trust relationship. This isn't free money. A
Yeah.
lot of us look at it as free money and we spend what we don't actually have. And that's when we get caught up in paying extra in the interest.
That's
So
right.
I would say, man, don't cut up your credit cards. Pay like whatever you spend every month, pay it.
Yep.
Try not to spend more than 20% of that card and then pay off your balance every month. And
There you
that's
go.
going to show that you have good paying habits, good payment history, and things of that nature, which is important to build a credit score. So,
Right.
in short, man, keep your credit cards, educate yourself about how they work, and then utilize it in your way. Leverage the
Yep.
debt.
Yep. Yep. So use your credit cards. Don't let your credit card use you. All right, guys. There you go. So, we have two more questions on the show, and I just want to say, I feel like there needs to be a part two next year. This is my last show of the year, and this is
Oh,
yeah,
dope.
brother. Yeah, this is a great way to end
I'm
the
the
year,
last
man.
show of
Yeah,
the
you're the
year.
last show of the year, man.
My God.
And this has been a great, great, great episode. This is the last show of the year, 2023. This is the best way to end off the year. All right. Because how you end is how you're going to start. And this is strong. All right. We're going to start 2024 strong. So thank you, Justin King, for all the information that you're dropping. I have two final questions to ask you. And it's been great, honestly, to have you here. And, like I said, like part two, I want to have a part two next year. Once I grow some more and you grow some more, we'll have some information. We can help more people. All right.
Definitely, bro.
Definitely.
Definitely.
So how important is it to be financially literate?
Hmm. Man, very important. I think it's a part of life, like it's a part of this thing, or some people call it a game of life, however you want to put it. Like we live in a society where, finances are a part of our everyday lives. So it's almost like if I were to step on a basketball court and I didn't know the rules, right? I was just like, I got subbed in the game. I don't know what a double dribble is. I don't know what a travel is, but then I want to be successful at it, right? I'll essentially be out there running around like they say, a chicken with his head cut off, right? Like just blindly running around and getting called for techs or turnovers and all type of different things. And that's what happens in this game we call life when we aren't financial literate, right? We get out here in this world and we don't understand, you know, the rules to the game. And I feel like the financial, space, there are rules to this game and there are laws to this game as well. And if we don't know the rules and the laws, we're just going to be out here losing money. We're going out here, like we just talked about credit, we're going to be using credit in the wrong way, right? So we're going to be up to our necks in debt. And then what happens when that happens? Like that affects our physical well-being. That affects our mental well-being. So we have to look at financial literacy just as important as, wellness, like eating the right way, exercising, getting sun. Like we have to look at financial literacy the same way. And I think, it should, why it's not taught in schools this way, we probably know that answer, but we won't go there. But it's like, we don't really know why. There's obviously some type of something going on there to where the system wants you to just work. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And to help others get rich. And
There
it's
you go.
fine to work, but eventually you should want to work to some type of financial freedom.
Yep.
And to do that, like financial literacy is key. And that's going to help you not to make bad money decisions and not pass on bad money habits.
That's right. Yeah. Great advice, Justin. You guys are going to want to rewind this about a minute, listen to that again, reprogram that in your mind, and also program, the content that Justin is putting out because it's key. Like you said, financial literacy is everything. Financial literacy is key. All right. So make sure you guys are becoming financially literate, and you could do that by following, Justin King, reaching out to him, watching his content, and also watching the shows that I have on a weekly basis. All right. So I do have one final question, and we are going to wrap up the show. Again, like I said, like it's been an honor. It's been a pleasure having you on the platform. And, just after this last question, I just want you to give all your information so people can, plug into, your Instagram and whatever,
Got you.
social media forms you're using. So when you hear these words, Justin King, what comes to mind?
Okay, let's do it.
And you could do like a sentence, you could do a one word, whatever
Okay,
comes to the top of your mind. All right.
got you. Got you.
First one, generational wealth,
Family inheritance.
entrepreneurship,
Mm. I would say building a business that will eventually earn you passive income to free up your time.
debt,
Good and bad debt, but educate yourself on what good debt is.
personal development,
So self-reflection. So learn from your mistakes. Never stop being a student and don't blame others.
taxes,
find a way to avoid and minimize your taxes lawfully, though. There are ways, so, go to the IRS website or whatever. I don't know what it would be in Canada. What is it?
CRA, Canada Revenue Agency.
So go to the IRS if you're in the United States. If you're in Canada, go to the CRA, read the website, read about how you can and do that lawfully and get with the professional to help you.
I love that advice. Justin King on the show dropped a bunch of gems. Like, my paper is full. You know what I mean? There's going to be a part 2 next year. I'm going to go back, watch this episode a couple times, program all this information. And most importantly, I'm going to take the action. Everything that I heard on here, I'm going to take the action. And that shows that I was listening and I was learning. So, Justin, I want to thank you for coming on the show. So how could our audience reach you?
You can reach me said right here on the screen if they can see it. Justin King at jking.wealth on TikTok and jking.wealth on Instagram. Or if you're just you let it be on Facebook, I'm there as well. Just Justin King.
Love it. Justin King at jking.wealth. Make sure you guys are adding jking.wealth today. All right. Today. You need to do it yesterday, but if you didn't do it yesterday, do it today, all right? Because he's got the financial literacy educational platform and he's providing so much knowledge. He's on his way to financial freedom, building wealth for his family and his future generations. Again, Justin, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Remember, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and don't be a gatekeeper. Share this episode, all right? Hit that like button, comment, all right? Justin King, I salute you, my brother. Thank you.
Salute, bro. Much love. Peace, man. Thank you.